And I don't want to be that person, but I kind of wish they animated this to where when he walked, it would like jiggle. So I said I was going to do like a supplemental lore video for Springtrap and fnaf. I was talking to a Discord member today, and I've decided to push it back a bit so I can organize my thoughts and make sure I'm getting my ideas out properly, because it's going to be a big video, and I want to make sure my ADHD brain can get everything organized, so it's probably going to be a little while. The poll indicated that it would be a Toxic Springtrap. The whether it's unknown or dredge, I'm not sure which of those will be a second, but for now I'll do Toxic Springtrap and then take some time to reorganize, rewrite, and get my thoughts down in order for the fnaf lore video. So we're back in ZBrush. Toxic Springtrap is my main skin, so he's close to me. He's different than the AR version, and I kind of prefer this version over the AR version. The flavor text says he emerged from the depths of corrosive despair, radiating a newfound evil. Now, interestingly, his head is called the bubonic bunny. Engorged cyst emerged from the suit. His mind swam with disturbing sensations. His body is called the fuming fur. Veins coiled around his appendages, organic tissue that brought forth even more cysts. So, in short, Toxic Springtrap is almost a more out of control version, I guess, of Blighted Springtrap. If I remember in the AR version, he was like releasing like weird gas clouds or something like that. It's been a long time since I've done fnaf AR. The idea, I guess, is like a diseased, toxic, corrosive Springtrap whose skin is growing with tumors, veins, and such things as that. So, to begin with his feet. His intestines are still there, and since I've got the BPR cranked up, I want to take a look. Yeah, I'm almost 100% certain these are his intestines. You can see the little divisions, the division lines in it. Yeah. So compared to default Springtrap, there's really not much difference in his feet other than there's a purple tint to the metal. Now, I'll also provide an image of the rendered version of him because it'll be easier to see what's glowing, because most of these purple areas glow or have an illuminated texture or render. Now I will assume, given the description, that the purple looks like this purple goo is the corroded remains of the Spring Bonnie suit, or the outer shell of it. Now, yeah, I think it's the corroded shell. Man, his calves swelled. So it's interesting because it would mention like warty flesh, tumors, veins, a very sickly, very disturbing. I'll feel almost like it's borderline RE or Resident Evil mutation type of expansion, like he's mutating and regrowing so fast his body's starting to has some issues. You can see the bone of its leg coming down. Right here. Let's back up a little bit. Yeah, you can see the veins popping out. You can see a lot of veins and arteries and blood vessels like popping out. You can see there's a growth on his left leg. A big growth. And I will assume that's part of the warty growth. It's all over his left leg. His right leg seems to be having some issues around the calf. Almost like it's been cut out. And I'm gonna take a guess. Yeah, that's, well, it doesn't quite match. It looks like it legitimately got cut out by something around the calf. Now, like blighted Springtrap, this is more severe, it looks like. Where in blighted Springtrap, you could see where he was starting to fuse with the metal. And you could see where he was starting to fuse with the metal. But you also saw where William seemed to like rip the braces off. Here, it looks like it swelled and grew so fast that he didn't have time, because it's legitimately growing outside and around and over. See the veins? He's got a serious case of varicose veins in his legs. Tumors, the back of the knees. And another thing, his muscles are swelling. Now that could be from, like, given that the toxic nature of the skin, it could be like an inflammatory reaction that they're trying to get off with the corrosion and like toxicity and inflammation, if not straight up diseased. Yeah, look at all that warty skin on this side. It almost looks like the front of the leg bone. Right here. We won't go to the knees just yet. What's under? Yeah, so that is the bone. It's slightly coming down. Looking at it, looks like it's clean cut, and you can see the layer of skin on top of the muscle. It's interesting that's on that side. You can see the bones here. Yeah, there's two. Random wire coming out here. His knees. There's a tumor right here that's growing out. You can see the muscle here bulging out. You can see it here bulging out. You can see the muscle here. See this muscle? See this one down here that wraps around up here. This, I believe, is a tumor. Which, they kind of modeled, like, the tumors in a weird way. Or they gave it a weird texture on it. See, oh, now, I don't know. And I know, like, a few other people have far more knowledge in anatomy than I do, considering the comments. I don't know if these are veins. They might be. They look kind of like veins, or if it's patchy, like moldy, patchy skin. Anyone want to take a guess at that? Let me know in the comments. The circulatory system, or the like veins, arteries, blood vessels, I was never particularly good with. But I know this blue here, I believe, is supposed to be the moldy part of the suit. Or where the corrosion is eating, it actually might be where corrosion is eating into the metal or the plastic of the spring body shell. Yeah, that just might be, it could be a moldy patch, or it could be the corrosion that's... Now, interestingly, you can see where this tumor is. That the shell kind of melted around it, letting it fall out. And I don't want to be that person, but I kind of wish they animated this to where when he walked it would like jiggle. Melting the shell. So yeah, the purple has to be the melting shell, the spring body, melting around the metal. So, oh Jesus Christ, back to the hips. Somehow, Toxic Springtrap's pelvis is in worse shape than any of them. Just see right through it. Let's see. So, it looks like Toxic Springtrap has more muscle. It could be the bloat or the swelling, but you can see like the Adonis girdle right here, or you can see the cut of it, or you can see half of it. The other half is covered by what I always assumed were his intestines, but I think it's just a big floppy tumor. His belly button, his abs. So this would be the crest of the hip. This would be the crest of the hip. Where are his leg bones at? They just melt off? Or are they just being held in place by strips of flesh? Let's see, crest. So they should be, I think, so I think this is the back of the, yeah, because this would have to be the back of the femur. So I don't think his legs are even attached to his pelvis. I think they're free floating and held together with just muscle. and flesh. That's unfortunate. His pelvis is fully connected. That's a first. He no longer has his little tail. Disappointing. This. Okay, so yeah, so this, I always kind of assumed when I first saw it that this was like a some of his intestines coming out, because that's also like where that big scar on default is. But I think it's just a big fat floppy tumor that's sticking out. Mainly because his small intestines are down here. Like I said, I kind of wish they would animate these to like bounce, but get what you get. Yeah, so yeah, I guess this would have to be the head too. So both of his leg bones, the Toxic Springtrap's leg bones they're not even attached. Like the head of the femur isn't even set into his hip. It's literally attached by these little strips of muscle and flesh. See where the bone is here, and then you can see where it's swelling up and over the girdle of the animatronic. Also looks like something took a big chunk out of his hip, but I think that's more of it just hasn't grown back. Unlike the blight serum, which seems to like enhance his regenerative ability, it seemed to do so in a more, I guess, linear way. This just seems to have gone almost like a cancer, where he's swelling, he's getting like tumors, he's getting like bulging muscle and flesh and veins everywhere. I don't know what is going on up here. And his glutes are gone. I mean, they're still gone. If anyone remembers when Pyramid Head actually had like a real shapely ass, and then an update later they gave him a flat ass, that I guess they decided they didn't want to make that mistake with Springtrap, because that's like skin number 3 where his ass cheeks are gone. Now, I don't think... Yeah. Just like the default skin with the animatronic spine, these are part of the model, so I can't hide them. But you can see where he's overgrown the lower part of the girdle here. Actually, I think those are spring locks. Like, his body has festered and overgrown so fast, so much that he has just about completely covered the lower spring locks. The upper ones are getting there. You can see where it's starting to take over this spring lock. You can see kind of where it's kind of hard to see because it's such a like cancerous mess, or a cancer tumor looking mess on him. See, back out a little bit and render. Maybe get a better look. Yeah, you can see where his spine is, or was. Ah, he's such a mess. Like, out of all the skins, this one is definitely the most horrifying. At least physiologically. He doesn't even have a third arm to compensate for this mess. So here's the bottom of his Adonis girdle. The pelvic muscles. So his diaphragm, I think, is right here. You can see where the flesh is like it's just kind of everything's running into each other and overgrowing over each other. It's so hard to tell what's what. I think it's also affecting the bone. If I had to take a guess, just glancing, the bones are being affected too, along with the muscle and the flesh. See, he's... Oh, good. Oh my god. That looks so much worse from the side. You can see like a cave, like where it caves into his body. It's like part of him just exploded and turned into a tumor. There's an actual divot there. And it looks like that's tucked up under... Yeah, I think that's tucked up underneath the spring lock, and it's like growing out from underneath it. You see the part of the ab kind of collapsed under there. Man, this is hard to decipher. You see, like, it's swelling up here. Part of his pec. I think. Let me reference that most of this is I think, other than the quite obvious anatomy. Yeah, I think this is his pec. So his shoulder, yeah, his pec would come down here. He doesn't have a nipple, I don't think, unlike the default. So his pec is swelling out. It's covered in veins, blood. You see his clavicles up here. You see like muscle starting to bulge out here. Now his shoulder, and this one takes it different than blighted and default skin. Normally on them it almost seemed like the right side is what mutated the heaviest or changed the heaviest. On this skin it's the left. You can see blood coming out here underneath this. You can see where it's grown over here. It's growing over this. It's beginning to grow over here. And it's interesting to see this on the back because I'll have to look at a picture because you can see the muscle here, like the muscle distinction here. I believe there's a muscle that comes down here like this. And you can see where it's starting to grow over the shoulder of the endo. And it's already eaten this part that was over here. And it just keeps going. For some reason, he's bleeding off of this side, so I don't know if he... I better... Okay, so the cuts or the broken metal isn't in there. So if there's fresh blood coming out of this side, my guess would be that's why this side is starting to like swell and grow and get like that tumorous appearance, because apparently there's more blood flow on this side than there is this side, and I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, because there's blood on this side too. I'm not entirely sure how that would happen. Unless there's something going on with his heart or something. Now, kind of reminiscent to Blighted Springtrap 2. I almost feel like this may have been like a spontaneous mutation or reaction to it, because this is broken. But you could see where it went through down here, but it's since this was grown over, my guess is that this was caused by Springtrap. Since it grew over this, but not this. I might want to keep that in to see. Now, his bicep is just a mess. No, his shoulder, his bicep, and his tricep are all just hideous, tumorous masses. They look absolutely horrifying. And now I'm starting to actually kind of question why I use this skin, because this is what survivors have to see. Interestingly though, even though this I believe is considered like tumorous, cancerous skin, it is still following kind of basic biology. If you see where the shoulder comes down here, the biceps on this side, the triceps on this side. So there is some natural patternization to it. His armpit's just about gone. Now, here's another tumorous lump. I need to figure out where I am. So this is his elbow. Right here. So I'm not sure where this tumorous lump just kind of, I guess it, when have tumors ever made sense? It popped out on the side. You see his forearm is swelling, and I get the feeling, I'm gonna go ahead and make the joke, because I get a feeling somebody else is gonna do it. It reminds me of Quagmire when he discovered the internet. How interesting. So his spine. Okay, that's interesting. His the robotic spine isn't attached. It's like it is on default. So this over here just might be a design choice since it's covered. The corrosion of the suit is almost becoming cancerous looking itself. You can see little tendrils like grabbing onto his skin. Especially right here, it's going in between the suit or the spine vertebrae. Here and here, almost like it's digging in and trying to form with him. It's coming up, which is weird because you can see his neck in default, so I don't know why it's like opening up like this. Almost like a collar. What's his head? What's it look like with his head on? I'm having to try to separate anatomy from design choice. And that might be a design choice to hide his neck, or to give the sense that instead of making this like just one piece, giving it the sense that it's one piece, like the head is beginning to corrode and melt down. So they turned they just pulled this up to make it look like one piece, to give that sense of melting down. You can see where it's starting to like grab at him here. You can see where it's trying to grow up. It's got little tendrils trying to grow across the metal. Now, honestly, when I first saw Toxic Springtrap, for some reason I thought that these pieces, these shards, were glass. And I think I thought that because, like in the in-game lobby, they look transparent, but they're clearly metal. So that's interesting. He's got metal shards stuck in him, which would imply that they're being forced out. So if I had to, and it's a stretch of a theory because, again, I didn't get to play FNAF AR that long, and Behavior's description isn't too helpful. The blight serum worked fast. I think whatever the entity did to him here worked faster. The corrosion, the overgrowth, the cancerous cell, or the tumor, tumor growth, I think it happened a lot faster than the blight serum did. And now I think there's like a conflict in his body where he's grown over the metal, and now it's swelling. There's tumors popping up everywhere, and I think it's pushing the metal out. Like it's legitimately breaking and pushing the metal out from inside of his body. Yeah, because you can see... Yeah, because you can see like the slit right here, where this piece of metal is coming out. It pushed out. You see where it's swelling here around this piece of metal, how it's slid out here. So he's actively, I don't even want to call it growing, because it does remind me a lot of like cancer, where like his regenerative ability just went haywire, and now his body is doing it so fast that it's like cancer. It's causing tumors and swelling, and the veins are popping. I'm gonna end up like putting a lot of pictures in here because it's hard to look at, and it's kind of hard to tell what's what, or what's running into what, or what's growing over what. Like, this is a mess. Definitely, I would say one of the harder ones to look at, just because I can't tell what is what. Now, his right side is doing a lot better, where you can actually see, yeah, you can actually see like muscle definition, like lean muscle definition. You can see it right here with the shoulder. Here's one muscle and here's two. Yeah, the collarbones, his bicep, his tricep. You can see how the forearms are kind of swelling a bit. His elbow. And of course you can see the bones. Now interestingly, where default Springtrap's left arm looked like this, where you could see the bones and it looked like the cut on his arm was perfect and flat. Now that's switched over to his right, and his bones have an interesting yellow tint to it. I don't know what would cause that. I'm sure somebody will know the answer and have it down in the comments, but his bones have turned yellow. What's the other side? Ooh, So something that's going on with his bones too, where it looks like one bone is swollen and or the other bone has shrunk, or both. But you can see a definite like difference. These two almost seem even in their size, and then there's a huge difference on the swollen side with his bones. His neck muscles are starting to bulge. You still see his Adam's apple. You see where these muscles are starting to pop out though? Mostly over here, over here. Again, this side seems bigger. It's very asymmetrical, which is good. That's what you want with a lot of things, because you never want a model like this to be symmetrical. It doesn't look particularly good. And yeah, because his, and I know from the comments, especially with like Plated Springtrap, the jokes about like the British teeth, now like his arm bones, his teeth are turning yellow, and I wonder if that's a sign of like bone decay or something. Because as bad as his teeth are on the other models, they're not nearly as bad as this. His tongue is gone, I think. Yeah, his tongue is isn't there. There we go. Yeah, his tongue's gone. It's probably gonna be hard to see on the screen, but I've turned on the the poly frame. His tongue's gone. It probably melted off. Just interesting because they went through the trouble to give him a tongue to begin with. Now, his face is swelling. The cheekbones. Side of the skull. This is swollen. Again, everything swollen seems to be on the left side this time. It's almost like his ear is starting to fuse into his skull too. You can see the septum here. A nostril here, a nostril here. It's almost like you can see all the veins up there. It's almost like his eyeball's trying to regrow because it's bulging here and starting to stick out. The lid is starting to bulge and stick out. But this one's not. So his eye might be trying to regrow, or it might just be another cancerous tumor behind his eyelid. Now, interesting. Unlike default skin, you can't see through this. This is already regrown. Because if you remember on the default one, you could see through right here to the other side. So this is actually regrowing. The muscles up here reattaching, regrowing. It looks like they're kind of corroding over here, or decaying. Or they just haven't, maybe this side put too much energy into his shoulder and arm and forgot his face. It's almost like this is trying to fuse together. You can see the skull. Now, interestingly enough too, go back to just his head, or shoulders. I don't want to say it's decayed. I don't know what's going on with his body, like if it's corroding from whatever the entity's done to him, or the toxins, or but it looks like you can almost see these are his gums. His gums are this is really hard to tell because it's all the same shade of color. But given this line, right here. These are his gums, the line right here, and then this is like the flesh on top. I don't think he has any lips yet. These are definitely the metal bars from the default. This one over here snapped, which is interesting because I can't see a reason why that snapped. Now, this right here might be, I think, see, that's the mandible, maxilla, I think. I'll have to look it up. So that might be the bone. If that's not the bone, then I think it's part of the endoskeleton's headpiece. Now, why this is snapped though? Let's check his head. I see where it's corroding. You see the metal starting to melt underneath. But I don't see a reason that snapped. Also, his right eye glows purple over here. And from my understanding, a lot of people also make the connection that it's purple guy and then he's turning purple. Like you see in the FNAF games. Purple is also used to usually signify toxins. Purple and green are usually sometimes interchangeable for toxins, venoms, poisons. But he's this is my favorite shade of purple, so I'm glad they chose purple. It also matches with the purple guy aesthetic. Let's see. That's a glowing purple eye. I cannot for the life of me figure out why that snapped. Also, I'm having some issues with my ADHD, so I'm probably going to bounce back and forth between things this time until they get my medication refilled. That's kind of pulling up. It's interesting. Here and up here. The head's definitely worse for wear. You see where it's corroding, melting. See where even the metal underneath is starting to kind of corrode. Starting to melt down here. Oh. They're the eye guards. So this isn't as, there's not as much to go over on Toxic Springtrap. One, because it's mostly just a mess. It's hard to see what is what belongs to what. He's almost got that stylized, almost like a stylized anime character with the way certain muscles bulge out and then the joint gets tiny and then the muscle bulges out again. This one seems to be more growth, tumors, like cancerous regrowth than anything. I would say the most interesting part is that his legs aren't actually connected to his hips, which makes me think his main support is the endoskeleton and the spring locks, since his legs aren't actually attached to him. Well, they are, but like the bone isn't attached to the hip. So yeah, that's Toxic Springtrap. I'll keep working on the lore video. Give it a few more days to see who pulls out, if either, between Dredge and Unknown, because they've been tied for a while. Other than that, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.